Hey, this is Pat from McCormick Systems. Just want to thank you guys for joining real quick on the webinar. It's going to be pretty quick on make sure and leave some time at the end for the questions you guys might have. But we're just going to cover some of the benefits of the Win 6000 in case nobody's on it right now. And if you are on it, you'll see some cool features and stuff like that you might not use its full potential. So jumping into it, you got the other three levels that are a little bit less feature-wise, project management-wise, and customization-wise. That's really the points that I'm going to touch on. So going through it, I mentioned I'm going to leave the questions at the end. But if you guys do have a question or something like that, you want to hit me more one-on-one, give me a call at the office right there, Josh or Patrick, or if you want, shoot me an email. Either way, not a big deal. And I'll put that information back on the screen as well in case somebody wants to jot it down. But jumping into the system. So you're logging in, same as every other thing. Pick which user, put your password in, simply OK. Now, Win 6000 immediately looks different right here at the job site. What I mean by that is you've got different columns, you got different tabs across the top. All of this can be customized. So if you want to see its status, dates, sell price, price per square foot, set that up. And it's actually per user. So if you have a senior estimator who wants to start doing some comparisons, do it. Otherwise, if you don't want to see something, simply go to your setup and just get rid of whatever you don't want to see. If you don't want price per square foot or job number, get rid of it, and now it's gone. Tabs across the top, again, in that same setup, you just make a new tab if you want. But it's just an easy way of organizing. A lot of times we'll do what type of project you want to do, or what type of project you're getting into, or sometimes just do your common builders. That way, if something comes up or anything like that, you can always pull up a job just depending on that. Another nice feature on the Win 6000 is there's absolutely no limit to how many jobs you can have. Some of the lower systems have limits on how many jobs you have. It caps out a certain amount. Win 6000, no limit. Keep going for as many years as you want. Throw a few thousand jobs in there. So setting up a job is going to be the exact same. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up that 149 West Boston so we start playing around with it. Same exact 5 steps going through. So you get jobs, labels, takeoff, extend, and bid summary. So that first step, jobs, just like every other time, it's already done. Your labels, here's another difference you're going to see. Now, with the other systems, the other levels, you've got less columns than you do here. Now, the reason we have 5 is just giving you as many breakouts as you possibly can. And you can set this up however you want, depending on the project. So I've got my bid packages, I've got areas and systems. Not a big thing. If I was doing a hospital, I might do east wing, west wing, buildings, floors, and then systems here if you want. Does not matter. Set it up however you want. All we're doing here is allowing you to organize your takeoff. That way at the end, you can actually go through and figure out your material list, your labor, everything you want, depending on that area, cost codes, and that for you. So that's your labels. Next one, jumping on to your takeoff. All right, so items, assemblies, you guys are already familiar with that, so I'm not going to bore you too much on that side. One big thing I do want to touch on is within the items or assemblies themselves, you can actually open up this review and you can make your own custom lines. So we've already got it preloaded up with a bunch of labor and everything, but sometimes people will have their own labor for your office, or you'll want a accounting code or something like that thrown in. You can do that on the Win 6000. Customize the screen to be and have whatever information you want to include. That's going to also take over in your step 4 extension, which I'll get to in a second. Now, doing that, highly recommend. Call my support guys. They do it all day long. They'll jump on there, put whatever you need, help you populate it, and reset. Now, with the assemblies, doing our takeoff, just like before, you got labels up top, you got your drill down below, takeoff window. Now, a lot of guys will run one takeoff window. Not a big deal. Good way to use the system, but if you were forced to use the menu a lot, to get around that, start using the workspaces up here. Now, this feature is available in the Win 3000, 4000, and 6000. So, guys in the Win 1000 can't do this. What's going to happen is you just go up to whatever you want to play with, hit the button right there, There you go. Now you're actually looking at 3 different assemblies all at the same time. So now if I pull up a drawing, I can fly through some takeoff by manipulating that. Now, when 3,000, you're limited to 3 windows. When 4,000, you're limited to 4. When 6,000, you can really have as many as you want. I got tired of counting at 250, but there's not a cap on it. So do whatever you do. Setting up a custom workspace, super easy. All you do is hit setup, hit new, give it a name, and at that point, you can set your own buttons right here. So you could actually set up a workspace and a group of buttons for every single estimator. That way, they just simply work through the most common flow, and then they know that they're going to get to exactly the parts and pieces they need. So workspaces are definitely a huge tool in cutting off that time of dealing with estimator. Now, going back to just the one window, I'm going to take this and go to a brand new section. A couple things we can do on the Win 6000 that's pretty specific to it is you can actually customize and play with your audit trail a little bit. So if I come through and I say, hey, I've got 20 duplexes and maybe I drop another 10. Well, I mean, we could all do the math and know that's 30, but sometimes it's nice to just have it grouped into one section. You can do that. You can summarize this up and see exactly what's going on. You can also come through and start to change the quantities. I actually want it to be 15. You can add notes in here. So there's a lot more that you can do within the audit trail itself on the Win 6000 that's not available on the other. Aside from that, aside from doing your manual takeoff, like I just did, typing your number and hitting that, jumping into the Design Estimator Pro, you get even some more features. So we blow that up, hit draw real quick. So I'm going to set that scale for 8. So doing takeoff. On every level, you have at least one favorites window. Now, on each of the other levels, that favorites window is limited to 20 parts. That's it. Now, on the Win 6000, you can have as many parts in this favorites list as you want. We don't care. You can put 200 in here if you want to, and you can have as many favorites lists as you want. So, more of a typical setup is every estimator has their own favorites list, and when they're doing their devices, they open up devices and go through and just simply start counting everything out. And then shrink it back down, open up the branch, pick what they want, and just start tracing out the rows. That way, every estimator has their own setup specific to how they typically work through a project. So again, Win 6000, you have as many favorites windows as you want, as many parts in those favorites windows. Other than that, everything else in the Design Estimator Pro is the same across the levels. But again, favorites list is a huge thing. If you're going to use that part on every project, don't make yourself look. So I'm going to close that down. All right. So that is some of the benefits just within the takeoff. I know I'm kind of flying through this stuff, and I'll touch back on it a little bit at the end. But going from here, I'm going to hit that step 4, hit that extension. Now, in the extension, there's some huge differences here. Now, first off, same report as always. Now, I'm going to go through that labels because I kind of mentioned that before. What kind of abilities and customization that gives. If I come up here and hit this labels button, I can check or uncheck whatever I don't want to see. Now I can separate some things out, drop back to my material. Now I can tell you that office A power, it's going to take about 80 hours, and here is all your material that needs to be applied to office A. Now drop into some more detail. I can collapse some cost codes for you. And I can tell you that office A power, you're going to spend about 17.5 hours just putting up the trail. So the Win 6000 automatically breaks all this information down for you as long as you set up these labels in the first place. And as you saw, it takes 2 seconds to set those up, so it's not to. Now, that's great with the labor. But now if we're going to start jumping on it, we're going to start trying to figure out who to shop from, where to get our material from, pricing, accurate pricing. What I'm going to do is combine these back up, go back to my material. Now I'm going to take this top report and actually put it as my supplier report. Now, you don't have to use these 3 suppliers. You put whatever suppliers you want up here. But what this will let you do is put as many suppliers as you want side by side. Come up here, hit this update button. I'm not going to hit it now because it takes 2 or 3 minutes. I don't want to burn your guys' time. But it'll actually put the prices in for each piece of material side by side, letting you see who to shop from. And you can easily hit that button there, and that's actually going to pick the lowest number excluding zero. So it'll actually narrow down your price. Super useful, especially with how material is moving right now. Just helps everybody narrow it in and hone in who to get material. With the reports here as well, something again specific to the WIN 6000 is you can customize these reports to be whatever you want. A lot of times you'll take a material list and we'll shoot it off to a supplier by doing like an item material list or a pull sheet. But also a lot of times you got to get something over to account, and sometimes they might have their own format that they want. Not a problem. Just make a report in here, call it accounting, click on it, come up to the top, and export that to Excel and get that over your accounting. Make life a little bit easier for them. So customization is really the big thing on the WIN 6000. It really isn't something you can't make display here or change here. Other than that, I'm going to jump on and hit that send the summary. Okay. Close this down and jump on Workspaces. There we go. All right. So going through your bid summary, kind of the ideal setup. I'm going to kind of fly through these sections, but you've got material, labor, quotes, subs, job expense, and equipment. Same as always, you're going to assign these out down here at the bottom. And then they're going to drop in for your overhead and profit, and it's going to populate these numbers up here on the right for us. Now, the big difference is I can actually come over here and I can start adding things to this list for us. So I can say, hey, other cost. Now I want to add. Spell now there.
Automatically, all the updates should come out and happen automatically.
Alright, so drop those in. And now I actually have a tab for whatever I want. Throw miscellaneous, you can throw a field, you can throw anything. And then that way, as you're going through signing something out, you actually know where your dollars and everything are going to. So that's one of the biggest things on the WIN 6000 within the actual section right here. So I'm going to assign some labor out. I'm just going to kind of run through these just so that way we got some numbers to check out. Alright, so 2 guys both working at the same time. Quotes, let's say fixed back to 15,000. Subs, maybe you got a gas stock up for you, $50 an hour for 17 hours. So $850.
All right, so
let's throw $1750 for the permit. I like that. $550 there. Equipment, we're throwing our own air compressor out there for $5 for 2 months. Now we got $300 allocated to it in case something happens. And going through all these sections, you can add lines down here if you ever need to. So it makes it easy. I'm going to skip my little tab. I'm going to go onto the bond table, set that up, and your taxes. All of these can be set up in your template job. I highly recommend it. It just makes life a lot easier. Now when we're back on the top sheet, we can see the dollars all through here. And we can see the jobs and the cost is $46,000. How to make money on it. Start dropping 10% for overhead and profit. I just threw 10% here, 15 there. As you guys know, you can change it. 6 there, actually about 25, 8, 9. But more importantly, I'm getting my total of 57,000, 20%, and just trying to go back to it. And that's great, but we also have some more tools now that we know what those final numbers are and what's going to happen next. So I could easily come up here and say, all right, well, that works well, but I need to get a Gantt chart. I can throw a schedule. The system can actually make that for you. And you can take this and you can export this out. Start moving some stuff around, see how many workers per cost code over here per phase you need and what you need to allocate out. Now, when you're done with that, you can also come up and start pulling up some graphs if you need. They're all interactive, so click on the label and see who's doing what, who's making what, and where they're supposed to be. One of the biggest things with the WIN 6000 that people absolutely love is actually dropping into our change order feature. So right up here at the top, I can open up my change orders. There we go. So now this is going to be live, and it's all actually going to tell you how much money you have out there down at the bottom, what's being submitted, projected, but also what's approved. But more importantly, you can actually come through. And like my change order one, I submitted it back in December, and I haven't heard back from this one, so I'm going to set a reminder for tomorrow. That way, too, if I don't hear back from them by now, tomorrow, give them a call, make sure it's done. If I switch that from submitted to approved, all my numbers and graphs down below are changed as well. Just making sure everything's kept track of, everything's taken care of, you don't have to worry about it. Now within here, you can generate reports and you can get materials and get everything off to them as well if you need to. Again, it's going to take another couple minutes to show you guys. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely let me know. I'll log in on my screen one-on-one and go through some more stuff. But ultimately, Win 6000, some of the differences, talking about customization on the job screen, to see and manipulate whatever you want, those multiple labels, being able to do your takeoff within multiple assemblies at the same time, customizing those specs, manipulating that audit trail, delete something out of the audit trail, it's not the drawing, change it to summarize, cleaner for you. Again, can't push enough on those favorites and DEPs. Set those up for each estimate for you guys. Extensions huge, being able to compare suppliers, change order tracking, second to none, built into the system, comes with it, not picking up anything else at all. So that's some of the differences bumping on through it. Obviously, there's a lot more, but I wanted to leave some time aside for at the end in case you guys do have some questions for me. So I'm going to kind of open that up to you guys. Go ahead and type them in if you do, or again, there's my info right there. If you have something more one-on-one and you don't want to ask that open, definitely just hit me up on a call or anything. I'm going to leave this up to you guys.
You can select a single file or several files and hit open, and then we'll put the things in the system. So we'll separate the file into individual sheets, and then you can zoom in and choose the ones you want. So if I just wanted, these 3 sheets here, I can use the import selected option and move the rest behind, or if it's an import all option, I'll use that. Another attached with job so that's it for name it, you want to. This is what we call labels, and this is where we can work it. Now, this is an example here. On a job, you'll decide what type of breakdown. And on a smaller project, you might use 1 column or 2. You don't have to use that. In my example, I'm using the first column for my bid package. So the point of this is we're showing that you can provide multiple create and manage multiple types within this one job. So in my example, and I'm providing
All right, well, I haven't seen any questions come through yet. Let's listen. But I'll give you guys another minute and a half sort of thing, see if something comes to mind. Otherwise, like I said, definitely give me a shout or shoot me an email, and I can do a little bit more one-on-one, spend a little more time in it, really go through those and show you how you can use those features specific to your company and how you guys are running the system. I'll give you guys another minute and a half, see if you can questions.
On itself, I can see a material that's just for the office seat. I can look at how many mail that guy on the seat. Yeah, and that's just an example. You could be floors here. Again, you just use systems here. You don't even see this So, again, in my example, I also broke the areas further down the systems. So, I'm going to look at just the lines. I think they hit the lighting for all 3 offices. Okay, later on, check the label. And both of those, the material and the breakdown of material costs and hours into it. Just by checking it.
All right. Well, I haven't seen anything come on through, so I'm going to assume that I did a good enough job explaining it for you guys again. Let me know if not. No problem at all with that. I want to thank you guys for jumping on the webinar today, and I hopefully hear from you soon.
Systems or sheet numbers, whatever you want.